that has warrior-style gameplay, but featuring Fire Emblem heroes. And it's a brand new story in a brand new kingdom. And we're actually going to be first playing the stage that we're playing on the show floor, but we have a few new additions we're showing exclusively here on Nintendo Treehouse Live. And one of those is this spunky blonde here, Liana.
She's a new hero, right?
She's a brand new character added just to this game, and she's the twin sister of Rowan, who you can play as on the show floor. Hi, Xander. Hello. We'll get to Xander in a bit.
We'll be spending a lot of time with Xander.
Yes, but while we have Hayashi-san here, perhaps you could tell us a little bit about how the idea came about to create a warrior-style game based around Fire Emblem.
我々ゼルダ無双も開発してたんですけども、ゼルダ無双のハイラルウォリアーズレジェンズの時に3DS で下画面でプレイアブルキャラクターをこうリアルタイムに切り替えるっていう遊びを入れたんですね。でこれを入れた時にやっぱりファイアーエンブレムの伝統的な3すくみの遊びとこのキャラクターを切り替える無双っていうのは多分すごく相性のいい面白いゲームになるんじゃないかなということで、ゼルダ無双をハイラルウォリアーズのレジェンズ開発中にぜひ次このファイアーエンブレム無双を作りましょうっていうお話をさせていただいて、今回こうやって実現したとなります。
So as you may know, we worked on the game Hyrule Warriors, and in Hyrule Warriors Legends we had a game system where on the touchscreen you could switch characters, and we thought that this would be a really good combination with some of the strategic elements from Fire Emblem. For example, like the weapons triangle. So we heard about this project during the time that we were developing Hyrule Warriors Legends, and we thought it would be a great idea to work on a Fire Emblem themed Warriors games.
Hey, thank you. And as we just saw, Prince Marth showed up.
Hey there.
Fans may recognize him from the very first Fire Emblem game or from Fire Emblem Shadow Dragon
on the Nintendo
DS.
Right?
And he shows up all around.
He's a busy man.
He is. But we're not going to give away anything about story here, but you will see a bunch of different Fire Emblem heroes and villains showing up, and you may just have to battle some of them.
It'll all make sense when you're playing.
It'll make sense when you play.
Don't fret.
But as you just saw, there was a stun gauge over one of those enemies, and Matthew was actually able to whittle it all the way down, which allowed him to unleash a really epic critical hit on them, which did a great amount of damage.
I love all of the nods to the Fire Emblem franchise that we're seeing in here, including the critical hit that you just saw with like the facial animation going across the screen.
Absolutely, and speaking of, we've got these little sprites on a grid-based map. That's a little bit familiar to Fire Emblem fans, and it also brings me to something else that we're showing exclusively here on Nintendo Treehouse Live, which is the ability to give commands. Now, this is extremely useful, but you can actually select any of the units that you're in control of and send them anywhere you want. You can deploy them to an enemy base, you can send them to fight a different enemy, you can do whatever you want to help you maintain control of the map, and this is really key in helping you win, because it can, as you said, it can get quite chaotic. And as you saw, Matthew just switched to Chrom, which is always a good decision. But with the touch of a button, you can switch between the characters you're in control of. So if you place them at different points on the map, then you can just switch between them, and then you're suddenly halfway across the map. It's very useful.
Chrom versus Marth seems so weird. They're basically using different iterations of the same sword, aren't they?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Legendary sword facing off against itself. And I love these special attacks here. They're really dynamic, and they really bring to life the characters that we know and love from the Fire Emblem franchise. And as Matthew is kind of mowing down these enemies here and trying to defeat all of the enemy captains on the map, Hayashi-san, perhaps you could tell us a little bit about the battle system in Fire Emblem Warriors and how it differs from other Warriors games.
はい、今回ファイアーエンブレム無双はですね、無双の気持ちいい意気投合の爽快感っていうのはもちろんなんですけども、そのファイアーエンブレムの持つシミュレーション要素っていうのをこの無双に落とし込んでいて、今マップにあるように3すくみによってこの得意不得意が一目瞭然出ますし、それ以外にも今キャラクターをダブルっていうことで2人をくっつけたりっていうような要素も覚醒の要素からインスパイアを受けて作っているものです。そういう意味で戦略性のある無双ゲームとしてこのファイアーエンブレム無双は形にしています。はい。
So this game has a lot of the game elements that you'd be familiar from other Warriors games, like, you know, really over-the-top action and kind of the thrill of taking on hordes of enemies. But it combines that with the RPG simulation elements from Fire Emblem games. For example, the weapons triangle, and also being able to pair up with characters is something that was inspired by Awakening. So we have really the strategic elements of Fire Emblem combined with the thrill of playing a Warriors game.
Absolutely, and there are just all kinds of little touches that I think Fire Emblem fans will especially really appreciate. You mentioned the weapons triangle, and anyone who's played a Fire Emblem game knows the weapons triangle quite intimately, and it's in full effect in this game. And things like pairing up. If you pair up two of your units, then you can do things like dual attacks or dual guards, and you can even have them jump in and help each other during their special attacks, which isn't only helpful, it looks really cool.
I think the animations for this game are part of what I love so much about it. Watching all the characters pulling off their critical attacks, like right now with Corrin.
Corrin's going nuts
That
here.
is insane. And it's not done yet.
No, she's just getting started. Yes. She did give it her all. Thank you, Corrin. Oh no, you made her mad. This one's really cool.
We both are momentarily struck numb by the
I know.
beauty of that attack.
And really, the characters is one of the biggest parts that fans love about the Fire Emblem series. And not only do we get to see a great variety of them and a brand new kingdom and a brand new story, we get to play in a different type of gameplay than we usually do for Fire Emblem heroes. So that's really neat. And also just seeing them rendered in beautiful HD in these brand new scenarios is just really something else.
And having all of these characters brought together in one game provides us with some unique opportunities as well. You get to see characters who'd never interact in any other game, like fighting side by side or against one another.
Cross paths, yeah. When you might not normally have seen Chrom go falchion to falchion with Marth, here we are. Speaking of, Hayashi-san, perhaps you could tell us a little bit about how you achieved the task of making the more action-oriented Warriors gameplay capture the feel of the Fire Emblem series, which is more strategy-oriented.
そこのバランスは本当に非常に大事にしてまして、今のシミュレーションゲームの遊び方、キャラクターをどっちに向かわせるっていうのはもちろん戦略的に遊びたい方はそう遊んでいただいてもいいですし、アクションゲームとしてそこら辺あんまりこうテンポよく遊びたいっていう方はそこにはお任せっていう要素もありますので、プレイヤーの皆さんの好みに合わせて遊べるようにっていうことも意識して作ってます。
So when we were working on this game, we really thought that balance between those two kind of game styles was really important. So in simulation RPG games, you would have strategic elements where you could send characters to different parts of the maps, and those kind of players who are into those games really want to take their time with that. But people who like action games really want to maintain the tempo, and so we have the option of setting that part of the system to be automated so that certain characters will defend and attack on their own. So
Thank you. And thank you also for including Prince Xander, who's the Crown Prince of Nor and of my heart.
Well, don't thank him yet.
Well, he showed up to be friends, right? That's my understanding. No?
ちょっと1個だけ例をお伝えすると、このレベルアップ演出、これもやっぱりファイアーエンブレムシリーズから取り入れた演出なんですけども、こういう演出が好きな方はこの演出見てもらえればいいですし、アクションゲームとして毎回この演出入るのはちょっとテンポかなっていう方はオプションでこれの表示をなくすこともできるんですね。そういう形でファイアーエンブレムファンの皆さんに楽しんでいただきつつ、アクションゲームとしても楽しみたい方、よりシミュレーション的に遊びたい方っていう方に遊んでいただけるようにバリエーションオプションなんかも用意してます。
Okay, just to comment on something that we just saw on the screen there was the level up sort of sequence. And that's definitely something that we've included for Fire Emblem fans to enjoy, where they'll see that right in the middle of the gameplay. But players who are more used to action games, where they might think that might stop the tempo of the game, they can turn that off in the options. So we definitely wanted to include elements that would make Fire Emblem players happy, but also not kind of disrupt the play for action. Players who really like action games.
Yes, thank you. And they did a fantastic job of it because there are all these little things. I mean, not just the grid-based map, the level up screen, little sound effects that if you're a huge Fire Emblem nerd, like nobody here today at all. No.
Or in this show floor
No,
anywhere.
absolutely not. If you love Fire Emblem, you're just going to go nuts over all of the little details and Easter eggs that they put in here for you.
We've got Ryoma now hacking his way through a bunch of minions. They were a lot of axe users, but now we're up against some swordsmen. Hoping to get some like weapons triangle action going on, but he slaughtered them rather quickly.
Yeah, you really do need to pay attention to what weapon you have equipped and what weapon your enemies have equipped. And in the full game, of course, you'll be able to choose which weapons and items you equip your characters with. So.
Oh, Ryoma.
There's
and Corrin
Ryoma
together.
beating up on innocent civilians like he does.
They just showed up to get a paycheck, and
That's true.
they have no stake here. These poor guys.
今みたいにこうキャラクターをダブルでアクションするとハートマークは出ますけど、あれもキャラクター同士の親密度が上がったっていう証拠なんで、ああいう風にやってもらうとゲームの中でもその2人の仲が良くなることでよりいい効果が出たりっていうこともあります。
You might have seen there when two characters pair up and they attack, there'll be a heart icon that shows over them, and that basically means that the bond between them has gotten closer. So you have that kind of element where characters will build this closeness between them as you play through the game.
Yes, that's true, and we're not going to give away about it, but as Hayashi-san just said, there is a support system of some sort. So again, another thing that's very familiar to Fire Emblem fans that has been brought to life in this Warriors gameplay.
Charging on deeper into battle now. Who's coming up here?
Yeah.
Oh, look at this.
Oh no.
It's your buddy.
Okay, we all know who to cheer for here. And it's not Matthew. I'm sorry, Matthew. Hitting an innocent horse. How could you?
It's like a little bit of support for my treehouse member, though.
It's okay. A little on, we'll get some revenge. Trust me. But see, this is really cool. We have Corrin, we have Ryoma, and we have Xander all just dueling it out here in this action gameplay. That's just a scenario we never would have gotten to experience otherwise.
Corrin must feel so conflicted right now.
Yeah, Corrin always feels conflicted.
That's true.
Poor Corrin.
Nicely done.
Good work, Matthew.
Thank you very much.
Made short work of Xander.
Well, no. Xander chose to retreat, for the good of his people. Just don't worry about it.
He had a conflicting appointment.
He did.
I'll show up later.
He had places to be. Showboat. I'm sorry. Ryoma's a good character and stuff.
You sound
I'm
very sincere.
In case you haven't noticed, I might be Team Nor, just a little bit.
Just a touch.
Maybe a little.
It's not revealing at all.
Nope.
No.
So thank you for making quick work of those enemy captains, Matthew. And
Good
now
job.
we're